It was a sweltering Saturday in late June, the kind of day that demanded an ice-cold drink and a plunge into cool water. The sun blazed over my quiet corner of Raleigh, North Carolina, bathing my backyard in a golden haze. I'm James, 52, a man who's toiled for his slice of the American dream, a cozy house with a pristine pool that's my haven after a grueling week. That afternoon, I was drifting on an inflatable lounger, a glass of lemonade in hand, soft jazz drifting from the outdoor TV. It was paradise. But tranquility, as I'd soon discover, is a delicate thing when you live near someone like Karen. Karen, God help her, was the sort of neighbor who'd crown herself queen of the cul-de-sac if given half a chance. With her razor-sharp bob haircut and eyes that hunted for infractions like a vulture, she lived 3 houses down, but seemed to haunt my every move. This isn't just a tale of a meddling neighbor, it's about how far someone can spiral when fueled by their own warped sense of power, and how standing your ground can taste like the sweetest victory. Buckle up, because this gets wild. I'd been floating in the pool for a couple of hours, maybe 3, lost in that hazy, half-asleep bliss where the world feels perfect. Then, like a scene from a horror flick, Karen's head popped over my 6-foot cedar fence, a solid barrier not meant for casual peeking. "James," she barked, her voice slicing through the calm like a knife on porcelain. "You've been in that pool for 3 hours." She spat the words as if I'd committed a felony. I blinked, my peace shattered, and managed to chuckle, thinking she was pulling my leg. "It's a hot day, Karen," I said lightly. "That's what pools are for." Her face twisted into a scowl, her bob trembling with indignation. "Water's a community resource, and some of us are trying to conserve." I nearly laughed again, but the glint in her eyes stopped me cold, pure, unhinged conviction. This wasn't a joke. She was deadly serious and on a crusade. "Karen," I said, keeping my tone steady, "this is my pool, on my property. I pay the water bill. It's not a community anything." I thought that would shut it down, but I was dead wrong. "It's about principle," she hissed. "I'm on the HOA board, and we have guidelines. Excessive water use drives up costs for everyone." That was news to me. I've lived here a decade, paid my HOA dues, and never heard of a rule capping how long I could swim in my own pool. I pointed out she might be confusing my pool with the community one by the clubhouse. Her eyes narrowed to slits. "Don't lecture me, James. You'll hear about this." With that, her head vanished below the fence, leaving my lemonade tasting bitter and a knot of dread in my gut. I wasn't worried I was wrong, I knew I wasn't, but people like Karen don't just let go. The next day, rain trapped me indoors, but Karen's words gnawed at me. HOA guidelines. I dug out the HOA covenants, a dusty binder I hadn't touched since moving in, and scoured every page. Nothing about pool time limits or water use on private property. Her claims were pure fiction. That's when I decided to act. I'd been considering a security camera system for general safety, but Karen's stunt pushed it to priority 1. If she was watching me, I'd make sure there was a record. By midweek, cameras covered my front yard, back, driveway, and pool area. Little did I know how quickly they'd prove their worth. A week and a half later, another scorcher hit. I was back in the pool, floating, jazz on low, reclaiming my calm. Then splash. Not a playful splash, but a jarring one, like an intruder had breached my sanctuary. I bolted upright, heart racing, and there was Karen, standing on my pool deck 10 feet away, dripping wet from climbing in by the steps. She held her phone aloft, filming me, a smug grin plastered across her face. My locked back gate hung ajar behind her. "Karen, what the hell are you doing in my yard?" I shouted, my calm evaporating. "I'm documenting your water abuse," she declared, as if she'd caught me running a crime syndicate. "You were warned, James. The community has a right to know about this waste." I climbed out of the float, water streaming off me. "You're trespassing," I said, my voice low, the kind of quiet my dad taught me signals trouble. "Leave now, or I'm calling the police." Her smirk didn't waver. "Go ahead," she taunted. "I'm calling them. They need to stop this resource hoarding." Before I could process it, she dialed 911, spinning a wild tale about me causing a disturbance and hogging the community pool. My jaw hit the floor. She was on my property, uninvited, and she was calling the cops on me. The audacity was staggering. The police arrived within minutes, 2 officers, a guy named Carter and a woman named Brooks. Karen greeted them like a hero, pointing at me in the pool as if I were a wanted fugitive. Officers, thank God. This man's been causing a disturbance, hoarding the pool, wasting water. She ranted on, painting me as some aquatic supervillain, claiming her HOA authority justified her intervention. Carter raised an eyebrow, glancing from Karen, fully clothed and raving, to me in swim trunks, dripping and dumbfounded. Sir, he said to me, your side. I took a deep breath. This is my private property. She climbed over my locked gate without permission. That's trespassing. I was just swimming in my own pool, not bothering anyone. Brooks Penn paused. Ma'am, she said to Karen, you're in his backyard, correct? Yes, Karen said proudly. I had to gather evidence of his water abuse. Carter's jaw tightened. You understand entering a locked private yard without consent is illegal? Karen faltered but doubled down. I had to document it for the HOA. He's wasteful. That's when I saw my chance. Officers, I said, I have evidence that might clear this up. Their eyes lit up. Karen scoffed, but I caught a flicker of panic in her expression. I recently installed security cameras. They've been recording, including today. Show us, Carter said. I grabbed my tablet, toweled off, and pulled up the footage. The side gate camera showed Karen sneaking in with a folding ladder, scaling my fence like a wannabe secret agent. The pool deck camera captured her marching in, filming me, and refusing to leave. For good measure, I showed last week's footage of her yelling over the fence about 3 hours and community resources. The evidence was ironclad. The officers' faces said it all. But I wasn't done. Officers, there's more. I checked with the HOA management after her first outburst. There are no rules about pool time limits. And her HOA authority? She was kicked off the architectural committee 2 years ago for overstepping. She's been faking her power ever since. Brooks' eyebrows shot up. 2 years ago? Yes, I said. She's been crashing meetings, acting like she's still in charge, but she has no standing. The silence was deafening. Karen's face drained from red to ashen. Then came the kicker. Her ladder had knocked over a laminated sign she'd brought, a 3-foot monstrosity titled Community Pool Usage Guidelines. Mandatory compliance. It listed absurd rules. Maximum immersion, 120 minutes. No nocturnal swimming without approval. Mandatory 30-minute resource rejuvenation intervals. Carter picked it up, read it, and let out a dry laugh. Ma'am, did you laminate fake HOA rules? Karen lost it. I am the law here, she shrieked, straining as Brooks cuffed her. He's in the pool too much. It's not fair. Carter shook his head. Ma'am, you need to cool off. Not him. They arrested her for trespassing and misuse of 911. As they led her away, her sign lay on the deck like a shrine to her madness. Karen was booked, fined, and put on probation. The DA pressed the 911 misuse charge. Turns out, clogging emergency lines over pool grudges isn't a good look. The HOA banned her from meetings and issued a cease and desist for her fake authority claims. I got a restraining order, ensuring she'd steer clear. My pool was mine again. The next weekend, I threw a pool freedom fiesta for friends who'd followed the drama. We grilled, swam, and laughed until midnight. I set up an inflatable mannequin with a bobbed wig as Karen the lifeguard, complete with a sign, swim as long as you want. Karen's not watching. Party favors. Mini laminated rule books with fake rules like no floating past 7.3 minutes. We howled with laughter. Looking back, this wasn't just about a nosy neighbor. It was about staring down entitlement, guarding your peace, and letting truth prevail. Karen's obsession wasn't just meddling, it hinted at deeper prejudices, a belief I didn't belong in her neighborhood. But I kept my cool, let the evidence speak, and came out stronger. Now, I float in my pool for hours, no Bob shadow lurking. Justice, in its quiet way, won. What do you think? Ever faced a Karen, someone who tried to bully you out of your peace? Share your take on standing up to petty tyrants or fighting injustice. Let's hear your voice.